Alright, good afternoon everybody. Today is the 6th day of August 2025. I had some stuff that I wanted to go over with you, but as I just said, for the life of me I can't remember what it was. I just want to point something out though. When the new swing trade tool, alright, this is just the new swing trade tool placed here on the chart. Alright, just this is an ES25 range chart, and I just threw the new swing trade tool on the chart. Now you don't have to do anything else when you put it on. You just put it on. If you want to do alerts with it, you have to go to properties and enable the swing trade alerts. And if you want to see the pre-alerts, that means you want to be alerted when you have a gray bar pop up like this. You have to click on that right there. Okay, and that will alert you when the gray bar pops up. The gray arrow, I mean. Now the reason the gray arrow pops up is to let you know that the next bar is likely going to be the one that triggers the trade. See, every one of these that had the gray arrow, if any one of the bars after it would have been a down close, you would have had the black arrow for the trigger, right? But none of them actually gave it. It kept going and going and going, and then it finally gave it right here. Now, I put these arrows on here. I don't know. It's a tool that I created several things to help you guys do the testing that I know you're going to do, the back testing and all that stuff that I know you're going to do. If you go in the TV trades tool right here, I'll just point this out for you, those of you guys who don't know. If you just throw this TV trades tool on, I created a thing inside here to see it. Go over here and click on this. You see this object tree in data window, and then click data window. See, it says sell profit ticks and buy profit ticks. Every single bar tells you from the open to the top of the bar and the open to the bottom of the bar. All right, every single bar you go over, it says it right over here. All right. Now, that was one thing that I wanted to show you. Go back to the alerts, put those back in there, spread it out a little bit. Another thing that I just want to point out to you is this little arrow thing right here. It's from over here on the side. All right, you click on the arrow like that, and when you draw it, if I click on it right now, and when I draw it, it's going to tell how many points I'm drawing in this line. Like, from the start to the finish is 18 and a quarter points. It's negative because it goes down, but it's 18 and a quarter points from here to here. I just want to point that out to you because it makes it another easy way for you to look at things that have happened and get a good idea of what happened. So like from here, where it gave the trigger, to here, where it gave the exit signal, was 20 and 3/4 points. So, I mean, 20 and 3/4 points, you can just do the math. 20.75 times 4. 83 ticks. Okay, this is the ES, so it's 83 ES ticks right there. Now, I'm not suggesting that you would hold on to it for the whole 83 ticks, but if you were going from just the entry to the exit, that's what you would do. Right here would be 46. From here, it's 29 points right there, whatever that is. It's 29 points would be 126 ticks, I think. Is that right? 116 ticks. This little bit right here, 6 3/4, that'd be about 27 ticks, I think. Now, I sent, I don't know where it is, but I sent a thing the other day, an email out the other day that had suggested risk management for the swing trades. Where the heck would that be? Well, I can get it onto the screen, but it had suggested risk management. Can I show this tool on today's NASDAQ? Sure, I have today's NASDAQ ready right over here. Okay, here's today's NASDAQ. This is actually today's right here, and this is on a 200 range, so it really didn't have much today. It had one trigger right here today. Right, this was yesterday. Yeah, 296 ticks there, minus 230 plus 628 there. And that was from here to here was 628. But this is on the 200 range. So, Harold, when you have days like today where you don't have a whole bunch of range, you can go to a smaller time frame than a 200 range. You can drop it down maybe to 100 range. And this is what it was today on 100 range. You had an opportunity there, an opportunity here, and an opportunity here. This one would have stopped you out. Right? But this one, 100 range would have given, well, we can use the thing. Do this from here to right there. 53 points. Right, those are points, not ticks. So that's 212 ticks. And from here to there, 71 points, 71 and a half points. It's 286 ticks, I think. Right, and this stop out right here. On 100 range, your stop would be probably 120 ticks. Okay, so you would have had probably about 120 tick stop out on this right here. Right, those are the trades from today. You don't really need the trigger down here at the bottom if you're using this. You don't need to have anything but this on if you're using this. Okay, I know some of you guys are going to put things on with this. You guys are inclined to try to eliminate the stop outs, to try to eliminate that, right? Everybody wants to get something that's perfect, but good luck with that. No, I get it. I understand it. I want to do it for you. I want it so it doesn't have any stop outs at all. I want to do that for you, right? I want to make it the perfect tool. But when I do that, I get down these rabbit holes. When I'm doing it with the swing trade tool, it takes so long to test out a swing trade tool because I can make one change and it'll take me a week or two to actually test that change because there aren't that many trades. To get a good sampling of the number of trades that you need to see if something is going to work with the various markets. You can't just do it with one trade and say, hey, that worked for one trade, and that's going to work every time. You know what I mean? So on days like today where you don't have a lot of range, you can go to a smaller time frame. This morning when I was trading, I managed to get it done this morning, but it took 32 minutes for me to get the goal for the day, and that's a long time for me. If you look through the days, it like once a month it takes me over 30 minutes usually, and today was the one. The month before in June we didn't have any over 20 minutes, and in May we didn't have any over 20 minutes. April, none over 20 minutes. We had one big day, one long day here in March. It took 50 minutes, and a couple of them at 30 minutes here in February, and one really long one there too, 82 minutes. Wow, that's a long time. 82 minutes. That is a long time for me to get the goal for the day. But today was 32 minutes, and that's a long time for me. I could tell right at the beginning that the markets they're just off, just by a hair, and you started doing something else and you lost money. Well, that's what you get. Wait. No, I have guys that are using just a swing trade thing. You really just have to put it on. It gets rid of all the noise. You put it on. It's not good for smaller time frames. All right. I mean, you can put it on a smaller time frame, like on the NQ. I usually trade the NQ on a 19 range. All right. You're gonna get a lot of false signals. All right, because it's made to pick the end of the trend. It's not made to grab in the middle of the trend. The stuff that I do in the daytime, in the morning sessions, I get that stuff. Usually I grab it, things that are, when the trend is moving, I grab it. But this is made to find the end of the trend. All right, and trigger when the end of the trend is just about there. Let's it's just about there, and there it is. Just about there, and there it is. And you're gonna run into things like this, where you get multiple ones in a row because it's not exactly the end of the trend. So you get multiple stop outs in a row. Like this is one right here that would have stopped you out. Now this is on a 19 range, so your stop would have to be about, well, I use a 25 tick on 19 range. I use a 25. All right, yeah, I use a 25 tick stop on the 19 range. So you'd have to stop out there, a stop out there, and a stop out there. If you didn't move your stop to break even after a certain amount, you can use it on whatever time frame you want. It just gets rid of all the noise. I recommend using it on a larger time frame. I didn't create it for a smaller time frame. Okay, the ES, I like the 25 range for the ES, Wayne. It's the thing about it with the 25 range, you get a couple. If you go larger than that, you might go days without trades. If you go to 100 range, look, you go days without trades in here. I mean, the results are good, but you're just gonna. I mean, if you want to do that, you can, but you're gonna have to pay overnight margins. You won't be paying day trading margins. Most of these trades, they start in one day and finish in the next. Now, this one was 3 days from here to here. It might have been a weekend. But this one started on the 16th, finished on the 17th. This one started on the 17th, and you would have stopped out right in here. This one started on the 10th, and this is the 14th right here. This one started on the 7th, and it finished right here on the 9th. So you'd be paying overnight margins for that. If you knock it down to a 25 range, then you usually get a couple a day. Okay, and the 25 range stop isn't that big. And you know, when you think about that, the 25 range with the 25 range bar, what would my stop be? It'd probably be about 32 ticks, something like that, right in that range. Okay. You know, with the 19 range, I use a 25 tick stop. So it's what? 6 bigger than 19 range. With the 25, about 30, 32, 32, 30, maybe 35, something like that would be about the right stop for that, I think. I'm just thinking. Yeah, that's all right. So you know, with the ES, if you're doing the large contract with the EF, not the micro, you know, that's a pretty big stop out. 25 ticks or 35 ticks, that's a big stop out. But if you're doing the micros, you know, you could do a couple of micros and be making, you know, a couple $100 a day, just taking these swing trades. You know, if you don't have time, if you don't have time to sit there at your desk, and if you find all the stuff that I normally do just to be too much, you know, you can easily do this stuff. You know, you can set it up so it sends you a message, set up the alert in here. You know, when you put the indicator on, right, you put the indicator on, you set the alerts inside it, and then, you know, you would just have to go over here, go to alert, and choose the swing trade, and then any function call. And then in here on the message, just create what you want it to be. You know, so it tells you over here what it is, okay? And then it's going to give you a message. The alert actually gives you a message when it triggers. It tells you, you know, if it's one of these or one of these. It tells you that information. And you can have it notify you on your phone, like in the app on your phone. You can have it pop up on the screen, send an email, all those different ways, okay? So you don't have to just sit there and watch the screens all day. Alright, now, I kind of want to take some trades in here, but I kind of don't, because the markets are really awful today. But I'll show you this stuff on other time frames, on other markets. This is what gold looked like. Okay, this is gold on the 25 range. And you can see, again, you only get a couple of trades a day, but today on the 25 range is a nice trade, a nice trade, a nice trade. 3 nice trades today on the 25 range on gold. Yesterday just had 2, one there and one there. Both nice trades. The day before that, there and there. This one would have stopped you out. I don't know what day that was, but this is what it looks like. This is the toast notification. Alright. And you see this doesn't have the TVT range in it. This is a different kind of signal. But this is what the gold looks like on a 25 range with the swing trade on it. Now, you don't need to have all these other things on here, right? You don't need to have that. You don't need to have that. Okay. For the swing trade, you just need the swing trade. I want to make this back to the 9 range so we can see if we have any trade setups that we can probably take in here. Okay, and we don't right now. On the alert message, we don't have to change wording. You don't. The only thing you're going to want to change probably in here, Wayne, is, oops, hang on, let me grab it. It's right here. The thing you're going to want to change in here is just put what symbol, you know, the symbol of the time frame and the symbol in there. Okay, let me go to the NQ for a second here, and I'll set one up on the NQ, and we'll have it trigger while we're in here. Okay, we'll set up a swing trade. Let's put this on the 19 range. And what time is it? 2:46. The NQ is moving. Let's put the NQ on a really small time frame. We'll put it on a 9 range. Okay, and we'll set up the swing trade just so we can make it trigger some alerts. Okay, let me just put a fresh one on. Go here, and we'll put on this swing trade right here. Right now in here I want to turn on both alerts like that, okay? And in here I'll say, oops, that's it, I'll just leave that like that. And then come up here and say alert and do the swing trade, do any function call, and we'll do just 9 range. Okay, in notifications we want to have that. We want to show toast notification, and we'll play a sound, so I'll hear it. Okay, I'll hit create. So when I do that, it shows it right over here in my test 9 range. And so now when it does create an alert here, hopefully it'll do it while I'm showing you some other stuff. Oh, I did this on the I meant to do this on the NQ. I changed to the NQ. Okay. Oops, you can't do that. let me just explain what I just did here by accident. I created the alert, and when I create the alert, if you go inside here, it is created for the ES9 range. Okay. So I can go and change the symbol right here, but that's not going to change the alert. So let me delete this alert, and we'll do it again. I'll do it again. I meant to do this for the NQ9 range. I thought the NQ would be moving around quite a bit, and that would probably trigger something. Okay, so here we'll create one for the NQ9 range now. All right, go to alert, and we'll do swing trade any alert function call. The message is going to be test 9 range NQ. Okay, notifications are all the same, and we'll hit create. I'm just going to make sure I left those on. I did. Okay, so we should get a message in here. Test 9 range NQ. Whenever it triggers, it's going to pop up in my head. It's going to show up over here. There it is right there. There it is right there. Okay, so you see what it said right here? Swing cell likely on close of next bar. So you get the gray one right there, and it popped up the message that said the close of this bar is likely to give you a trade. Okay, that's the alert right there, the whole thing. So I just created the alert, and you get to see the alert as it comes up. So if we do get a down close, if you get an up close, it's probably going to give you another alert that says the close of the bar after that. There it is, another alert. There it is right there, and there's the actual trigger right there. And I don't know why it didn't give you the trigger. Did it not give you the trigger? Likely on close of next bar. Well, this was the actual alert. Now, this was the alert right here that said get ready for it, and this was the one that triggered it right there. Let's go in here and look in the log. Yeah, it did. Okay, it just didn't give you. I must have done something wrong. It was right here. All right, it did it out of order right there somehow. But this is the actual cell. This was the one that gave you the notice, and this is the one that gave you the cell. And then it gave you another notice after it. I don't know why it did that. It did it backwards right there. I guess it came out at the same second. You see that? It came out at the same second. So this one should have gone before that one. But this is the actual alert. And you should have just gotten another one right here. Going the other way. I think. Unless I didn't turn it on that way. But you see, that's the benefit of it. So you can set it up so it'll give you alerts, and you get notified ahead of time that a price, that it's going to be a trade. And this right here, obviously, that would have been a really nice trade if we'd have gotten it. And there it is right there. They all just came out at the same time right there. Close on the next bar. And so it's not triggering the alerts exactly right. Right, well, this was an alert for one of the gray bars right here, likely on the next bar, 1450. That's what it was right there. Yeah, I don't know why it's causing a delay in between the triggering of the alerts, but anyway, that is how you do it. Show on a 19 range ES. Yes, I'll show you on a 19 range ES. I thought I had an ES going in here. I guess I don't. Here, I'll just put this on a 19 range ES. ES U, and we'll put this on a 19 range. Okay, let me get rid of these drawing objects in here. Okay, this is what it looks like today on a 19 range ES. If you start right here at the open, right in here, we had a nice trade right there, then one that stopped out, then decent trade right there, and then nothing else. So 3 trades and jump. Okay. You would have had this one right here, gave you 2 notices before it triggered. Yeah, this one right here gave you 3 notices before it triggered, and that one didn't go anywhere. So this one, if you draw this from here to right there, which is the close of that bar, which is 10.25 points on the ES. So 41 ticks. And this one right here, on a 19 range, your stop would be 25 ticks. So you would have stopped out on that one. And this one right here went from there down to the bottom right there, 8 points, 32 ticks. Excuse me, I just had to sneeze. Alright, I'm going to shut this alert off. Okay, this one here, because it's just going to keep triggering over there. Shut that one off. Okay. So on a 19 range, I would buy or sell after 4 points, 20 ticks, correct? Easier to add or subtract. Yes, not 4 points, 5 points. 5 points. I mean, on a 19 range, it's 5 points from the top or bottom. Okay, the 20th tick is what you're going to do. Okay, a 15 range would be 4 points. Yeah, a 15 range would be 4 points. And you can look at it on a 15 range if you want. Just do that. I've never looked at it on a 15 range, so let's just see. I already have one of those. Okay, I'm just gonna go get it. Here it is. Okay, so the 15 range gave a lot of trades today. Let me get rid of all the drawing objects that I have on here, so we can just look at that. Alright, so the 15 range started out here. I mean, that was a good trade, 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 that was a good trade. This one, we'd go to break even on the 15 range probably after probably after 10 ticks in profit, something like that, I would think. The 7 range, I go to break even after 4 ticks in profit. So 8 ticks in profit, probably you go to break even. So 2 points. So the entry on this would have been 330.75, and it dropped down to 328.50. So it would have just barely gotten you to break even. That would have stopped out. That would have stopped out. That would have been good. That would have been good. So you would have had a couple of stop outs, 1 break even, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 good trades. Okay. How can you get it? You just got to tell me you want it. You got to send me anybody that's on the trial, or anybody that is on the trial, or anybody that is a subscriber to TV Trades. Send me an email at support@targetviewtrades.com. Put in the subject line swing trade, and in the body of it put your TradingView login ID. Okay, I just have to enable you for it. Okay, eventually I'm going to make this part of I think I'm going to make it part of the TV Trades. I'll add it in here as something, just a switch to turn on inside the TV Trades. Okay, but right now I've got it to the point where I really like it the way that it is, and it's also to the point where any changes that I make, you guys won't, it won't be a visible change to you. It'll just be better results to you. That's kind of where I want to be with it anyway. So it doesn't look to you like I keep changing things around. I want things to be as good as possible, because I make money from trading, and if it's good for me, then it's good for you. So I make changes when I think it's going to make it better for me. Alright, does anybody want to see it on anything else? I haven't even tried to place a trade yet in this session. I'm hoping the markets actually calm down and become tradable here, but they have been really bad today. I've had numerous people saying they've had really rough days today. Not trading my stuff, but trading altogether. And so the NQ, we did have that on 19 range, but I got to turn some of these things back on for this. Okay, oops, I don't have the midpoint on there. Let me show you guys how to do the midpoint. Okay, let me just show you that really quick and explain what the midpoint is. Let me see who's in here. Is anybody in here for the very first time? Is anyone in here for the very first time? Because I want to make sure that, and I'm talking about a lot of things, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then let me know and I'll start from the beginning. Okay, I don't think anybody's in here for the first time, but I haven't taken a single trade yet. Now the midpoint, the idea behind the midpoint is when the markets go up like this and down like this and up like this and down and up and down and up and down, all that stuff, is to find the midpoint of the leg length and to give you a trade off the midpoint of the leg length. Okay, the midpoint of the leg length, the midpoint of the leg length, the midpoint of the leg length, the midpoint of the leg length. That's the idea behind it, is to find that midpoint. All right, now I was just eyeballing it there for you and drawing all those in there, but those may or may not be the midpoints. The actual midpoint you can find by using this tool right here. Okay, you can do it this way, and I'm using the trigger down here. If you're looking to find the midpoint on a bullish scenario, then you go from when it comes out of the oversold to when it goes back into the oversold. Find the high and low between that point and that point, and draw that. All right, that's gonna create your midpoint for you. So you look for a pullback to that midpoint that closes back up above it when it comes out of the oversold. So like this right here would be a perfect trade, right? Right now this is probably a pretty good trade right where it is. If we draw this right here, yeah, that's a trade right in there. What market is this? The NQ. And what time frame do I have this on? 19 range. Okay, yeah. So right in here would have been a good trade right in here. Okay, when it comes out of the oversold, it's got to come out of the oversold and cross back up above the midpoint. That's what you want to see. That's the easy and obvious trade. Okay, all these little yellow arrows right here, they tell you that it's gone into the oversold with the right color background, or it's gone into the overbought with the right color background. So whenever you get one of those, you can start looking here to see how if you're close to the midpoint or not. All right, now the midpoint tool that I created, the retracement tool that I created, it is only in the trigger. Okay, it's only available in the trigger. And it's available to anybody that's on the trial or anybody that's subscribed to TV Trades. You get access to the TV Trades range trigger. Okay, let me do it this way. Let's use this guy. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you first put the TV Trades range trigger on. Okay, let's get rid of that one. This is what it looks like when you first put the TV Trades range trigger on, just a basic trigger. So you come up here and put in the password. Okay, and once you do that, it enables other things. Like you see, it just enabled the conservative bars, right? I'll take that off. But enable the conservative bars, which is the red and the green bars, all right? And what they are like a watered down, more conservative version of the optimum trigger bar. Okay? Because the optimum trigger bar is going to let you know anytime it goes into the overbought or anytime it goes the overbought or into the oversold, if the bar turns white, that is a pretty good place for a trade, usually. Alright, but this is what it looks like when you just first put it on. Now, to get the retracement levels, you do have to put the password in. Alright, you have to put that password in to get the retracement levels. To turn on the retracement levels, first you have to just click right here. That does not put the midpoint on. That just puts the outer bands on. Now the outer bands are showing you the high and low between when it came out of the oversold, it went back into the oversold, or the high and low between when it came out of the overbought, it went back into the overbought, depending on what direction you're trading. Okay. To see the midpoint, you have to turn this on, 50% retrace right here. That's going to put the midpoint on, and that's going to calculate it for you. Like those things that I just showed you a minute ago, where the midpoint was. I think I showed you one right in here. I said this looks like a good midpoint right in here, and I drew that. And you see it's right there at the midpoint. That right there would have been a nice trade. I drew it over here too, but I was a little late on that one. And it would have been from right here, the low to the high. So it would have been right in there. That up close right there would have been the spot. Okay. Right now, as this pulls back up, we want it to hit the midpoint here and then give us a down close. But you see this right here, the yellow arrow just told you that it went into the overbought. Now you're at the midpoint, you just need a down close off the midpoint. This is the NQ, so what I can do is just grab the NQ, bring it over here, make sure the window's on top, 5 points from the top. This is the one that Wayne, you just asked me about a minute ago. 5 points from the top of the bar. 24.75 down to 19.75. Okay. 19.75 right there, sell stop limit. So if it doesn't go up anymore, it's going to close right here. If it doesn't go up anymore. Okay. Nilesh. Unless logged off, I don't know what he logged off. He said no and then he logged off. Okay. Yeah, well this is going to give you some pretty quick trades in here, but now you got to keep track of where the high of the bar is, right? The high of the bar is now 25.25, so you're not going to have a trade in here. The down close is going to be above the midpoint, so you're not going to have a trade in there, right? You don't want to trade, well, it just flipped the YBR anyway. I'm sorry, it flipped the color, it flipped the background color anyway. You see how this blue bar was on a red background? That was suggesting that the next bar was going to change the background color. So now you're looking for long trades instead of short trades, right? Because the background color just changed on you. So you're looking for long trades instead of short trades. And that was another thing that you can do down here. You can carry these colors down to the bottom here, right? That was something that I think Greg had asked for. Anyway, you just click on this and it's on the input side here. Match the buy and sell area. Check that. You gotta have that box. You gotta have the password in for that too. Okay. Alright. Alright, so what we would be looking for here now is for this to close down, the next bar, for this bar to close down, that's going to put this into the oversold, and then we'd be looking for it to bounce off the midpoint and give you an up close. That's all. Pretty simple stuff, right? Sorry. Squirrel. I created this alert for myself before, and I just got distracted by it. Okay, so we didn't end up getting that over here that we're looking for on the NQ. We got an up close instead of a down close, but it can still turn into a trade. Right? It's just not going to right at this moment. Alright, so let's go look at everything else in here right now. We have, where did I put that NQ? It's right here, right? Yeah, right there. Okay, so we can keep an eye on the NQ and see if it turns into anything. I had a YM chart up here too. Right, that's not turning into anything right now, so I'm going to slide the DOM over here. Right, you see it's suggesting it's going to go down right now. It's saying the next down close is going to trigger a swing short. Anyway, the YM, I had the YM in here. The YM's got the same indication right here as the NQ, but the YM's on 100 range. Now 100 range on the YM is kind of big, but it gives you a couple of trades a day. That's what I want to point out to you. You see, using just the swing trade thing, it gives you a couple of trades a day. Okay. Yesterday it only gave 2, 3, well, in the wee hours. But this one right here, from the open, it gave you that nice trade right there. This stop out, and then today it gave you that nice trade and that nice trade. And it's getting ready to set up another one right here. Now I don't know if it's actually going to trigger anything. It could, but I don't know if it's going to. We're pretty close to a trade over here on the NQ right now. We don't have one yet, but we're pretty close to a trade there. On the Russell, I don't have the midpoint on there. To turn the midpoint on, again, you go down here. It's inside the TV Trades range trigger. You just go here and put on the midpoint right here. It's 50% retrace. I'm going to rename that to midpoint. So say 50% retrace, and I'll put midpoint in parentheses on it so you guys get it. So here we are, right here. The yellow appeared, so you need an up close right here on this bar on the NQ for a long trade. Alright, it's got a low here of 18, so you buy 23. Okay. If the low stays at 18, then you buy in 23 on that. Low's 18 and a quarter, so you buy in 23 and a quarter actually. Okay. Over here on the Russell, the midpoint's not flat. The midpoint has to be flat. Right, it's going to be flat. Down here I have the div area on down here. I guess I can take that off. Take that off in the div line too. Okay, so it's the bottom of this still 18. Yeah, still 18 and a quarter. So we're still looking for an up close there. Alright. I have, what do I have going on? This is the NQ. Oh, I got an order waiting on the NQ. That's what's going on. I don't have a trade on. Alright, so we're still looking for the up close here. It's got a low here of 1675. Add 5 to that. It's going to be 21 and change. Okay, that would be okay. Go from the low right here, add 5 points to that. The low is 17, so it's going to be actually 22. 22 is what you'd be buying on that. So when I'm close here on 22, on the NQ would be a trade. And there it is. Ding. Ding. There it is. Uh-oh, the background color changed. That's not a trade. That's not a trade. I'm getting out right here. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out of break even. The background color changed to red. Sorry, I didn't notice that. Background color changed to red, so that's not a trade. I just took a break even on that. Over here, this is not a trade here either because it didn't come out of the oversold. I gotta get my head around this. When the bar color is wrong, with the wrong color background, you can't put the order on ahead of time. You gotta wait till the bar closes and make sure that the background color is right. Alright, if the bar color, you have red on blue like that, you gotta make sure that when the bar closes, you have the right background color. So you can't put the order on ahead of time when it's like that. If this were still a blue bar, then it'd be fine. But just a note to everyone, really. Okay, so the ES right here, not really giving us anything to work with right now. The YM, not really giving us anything to work with. Yeah, this is a micro NQ, I didn't even realize that. That's a micro NQ. Well, just make it the NQ. Alright, NQU. There we go. Okay, it's got the same stuff going on. Alright. Trades? I mean, any questions? Anybody? At this point? Alright, it's 3:09, so we have quite a bit of time left to get some trades off, hopefully, and answer any questions that you might have. You know, I've been trying to stay on point with all the things that we have available through TV trades because there are so many things that you can do with TV trades. The people that have been here from the beginning, they've seen it go from just individual arrows down here when the colors changed to all the different kinds of arrows that show you all different kinds of things with different kinds of signals and different kinds of trades. Now, there was something that I had shown everybody this morning. I showed them all Monday morning. I suggested Monday morning that everybody buy calls on the SPY, on the RLW, on the QQQ, and on the UDOW. I was looking at the August 15th calls is what I was looking at, which are next Friday calls. And if you would have done that on Monday, it would have worked out really well for you. What I'm looking at now, if we look at, let's look at the ES really quick. If you look at the ES on a daily, sorry, there it is, 1 day. Alright, on a daily, if this bar closes up right here today, then I think we're going to see all-time highs by the end of next week. Right, by the end of next week, I think we'll be up above 469.25. If today this bar closes above this bar right here, if it closes above yesterday's high today, I think we're going to be seeing some big upward movement. Right, and you can go back and look at it right here as it flowed all the way through here. If you put the TV trades on like this, and put this on, and this, and hang on, I gotta find the right spot for this. Right spot for this. Did I remove it? I must have removed it. Did I stick it on this side? Thought it was inside the TV trades. Oh, you know what? It might be inside the sniper. Let me see. There was something that I created somewhere in here. Here is where it was. There. Okay. But when it comes and it hits here, and it bounces off of there, every time it does that, it usually will exceed the prior swing high. And you gotta just look at the leg lengths that you're working with. Okay, and this is what I was talking about. This is the leg length that we were working with, right there. So you should make from here to right there. And that should probably happen within a week or two, is what I think. Okay. Within a week or two, we should see it up there. Now, what was that number? 66.18. That's if today, if this bar right here, let me get rid of this sniper right now. That's if this bar right here closes above this bar right here today. If it doesn't, then it's going to go down and we're going to see some more sideways action for probably another week. But if it does, then this is what should happen within, I would say within a week or 2 weeks at max, is what I think. Okay. Oh, sorry, I wasn't looking over here. For more afternoon trade setups, maybe switch ES to a 7 range or 4 versus a 15 range you have on now. Well, if the markets are slower, then yes. How to determine that? It's going to be the kind of day where you might just want to sit out. Let me get back to that, Sharon, okay? For the swing trade, John, yeah, that's going to be way too small for the swing trade stuff. And, you know, honestly, I haven't looked at it on a tiny time frame like that. You know, the 4 range and stuff like that. I haven't looked at it on that. It looks to find the end of the swing. So, you know, with the 4 range, the end of the swing is going to happen like every 5 bars. So it's, I have a trade on right here. Did I have something waiting somewhere? Because I have an NQ trade on. Where's the NQ? I went long on the NQ. I'm long on the NQ. Ooh, I stopped to break even. Okay. I did have my stop. Was I long on the NQ or short on the NQ? I was short on the NQ, so I was in profit. I don't know what the heck I did. I left the trade on. I'm not going to count that because I was not doing anything with it. I was in profit. I don't know how the heck I ended up with a trade on that. Was it a down close in here? That wasn't a valid trade. Anyway. Yeah, John, the question is, well, Sharon said how to determine if it's going to be that kind of a day where you might want to sit out. Well, for me, it depends in the morning. You know, when I started out the day today, I started out on the ES. I could have had the goal on the very first trade on the ES, but I wasn't fast enough, and so I only got a couple of ticks on that. And then the next trade I stopped out on, then it took me a little while to get to break even, but the trades were just, it just wasn't triggering the trades the way that it normally does. It wasn't pulling all the way to the midpoint, or it was running right through the midpoint. It was like it was given, you know, how the markets, when I draw this all the time, I always say, you know, the markets go like this, and they go like that, and they go like that. Well, today they're going like this, and then like that, and then like this, and then like that, and, oops, you know, and so it kept switching directions, and then, you know, from here, it would just go like, you know, like this, and then like that, and then like this, and then like that. And it was just, that's the way it was. It wasn't pulling back to the midpoint ever. You know, the midpoints just weren't getting trades. They weren't getting triggered. It just wasn't going there. So that is how I knew this morning. You know, it took me 32 minutes to get the goal for the day. And I was telling people at that time, I said, this is just, it's complicated today. It's complicated right now. You know, I didn't know when it was going to improve, if it was going to improve. It doesn't seem to have improved all that much right now. You know, 15 and a quarter. 15 and a quarter. Why would I have shorted 15 and a quarter? I must have just left that order on there from somewhere. Anyway, we were about to set up a trade here on the NQ. We're in a red background. It needs to come up here, hit the midpoint, and down close off the midpoint. The Russell right now in a 9 range needs to come down, hit the midpoint, and up close off of that. The gold is just about going to trade here. It needs to get up into the overbought, hit the midpoint, and then give a down close. So an up close on this bar, and up close on this bar on the gold would put us in the overbought and hit the midpoint. Alright, and then we'd be able to take a trade on the down close of the next bar. Alright, that's what could happen here. So that's got a possible trade. The NQ now has a possible trade. This is a valid trade on the NQ. 25 and a quarter down to 20 and a quarter, and now that's going to be, I don't know if it's going to make it now, 27 down to 22. It can't go up any higher if this is going to be a trade, and it just went higher. So you're not going to have one here on the NQ, because the close would be right about here. Alright, it would do everything right except be above the midpoint. And if it's above the midpoint usually acts as support. Okay? It usually acts as support. But yeah, Sharon, when my day starts out, if prices are not pulling back to the midpoint, or they're just running right through the midpoint and changing directions, you can tell right away that you're gonna wanna wait. Don't be aggressive on days like that. Alright, let it come to you. See how this just changed the background color right here? So there's no trade on the short side here on the gold. Alright, and there's not going to be one here either, because it's going to close right here. Right, it's got a high there at 27.50, so yeah, it's going to close right there, and it just switched colors. So there's no trade there on the NQ either. And this is what it's been like today. I could go through this whole hour and a half this time and not have any trades. We're halfway through it right now, and I really haven't had a single valid trade yet. I was hoping we were going to get something here on the gold, but we didn't. The actual alert triggers from the swing trade stuff, I've never... Let's look at that, John. Let's look at that on a smaller time frame. I've never done this on a smaller time frame, but your stop on a 4 range, your stop is going to be 8 ticks. You're going to move your stop to break even after 4 ticks in profit. So, I mean, it looks okay. It doesn't look horrible, but it's a lot of trades. In the time that we started this session from 2:30 right here, there was one there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. Well, every one of them was a winning trade, but that one right there was the only one in question. Now, these blue arrows right here, when you have the swing trade thing on, the blue arrows are coming from here, okay? They're originally designed... Remember, I created this stuff for equities to begin with. I didn't create it for futures. And they were designed to find a good spot at the beginning of the trend for the futures. Not at a trend change spot, but right near the beginning of the trend. After the trend change, right near the beginning of the trend. That's what those are for. To capture it once it gets moving in the trend. These are to capture it right at the end of the trend. These are pretty much to get you at the pivots, is what the swing trade is trying to do. Get you the pivot points. And does a pretty good job of it. And I got this thing giving you a warning, letting you know that the next bar right here could be a short. Now, you don't want to have the TV trades colors on there, because they're usually going to be wrong. Usually going to be opposite the actual trades. Because remember, they're going with the trend, and this is going opposite the trend. You see what I mean? I never really looked at this on a 4 range, Sean. If you want to do something that's got a lot of liquidity, that you can do for a little bit less money, you can do 5 contracts, 5 micro contracts on a 4 range, and see how it works out. That would give you half the risk of the regular size contract on a 4 range. Remember, if you go here to targetviewtrades.com, you go here, you go to risk management, 4 range is right here. Has an 8 tick stop, moves to break even after 4 ticks in profit. Now the 30 tick target on a 4 range is quite an aggressive target. You probably wouldn't have that. You probably have like a 20 tick target, maybe. Turning on the range trigger with this 4 ES help you any? The range trigger. No. Well, yes and no. I mean, it's not going to help you see anything, because it's more than just a range trigger. It's part of it. It might help you time it a little bit better when you get the gray arrows, because the range trigger coming out of the overbought or out of the oversold is part of it, but it's not all of it. So, when you get these gray arrows, you're going to be either overbought or oversold when you get the gray arrows. But coming out of it isn't necessarily the thing that triggers it. You know, like right here, when it came out of it right here, it didn't trigger it right there. That's not the thing that triggers it necessarily. But right here, you could say, okay, well, if we get a down close on this, you know, it looks like it's going to take it out of there. So I would definitely want to be going on a down close right there. Right. The question was, with turning on the range trigger, would the 4 range help you any? That was the question. Okay. And see, this looks like it's going to close up, so you get another one of those anyway. Yeah, I created this thing for larger time frames. You know, when I'm doing things, the math should translate, but I'm usually kind of doing it with a little bit of tunnel vision when I'm doing it. Like these things, I created to happen near the beginning of the trend, not right here at the beginning of the trend. No, like not on the pivots, but pretty close to the pivots. Okay, so they captured, you know, when the trend is running and it's a good spot on a pullback within the trend to be able to get into the trade. That's what those are for, right? And they were really created for the equities, you know, for the stocks. They work great with futures too, but they weren't created for futures. And one of the things that people are going to run into if you put both of those on there at the same time with the swing trades, you're going to run into things going in opposite directions. Like, you know, the long trade right here followed by the short trade right there. And so the question is, what do I do when that happens? Well, do one or the other is what I would suggest. Okay? You don't need to have the TV trades on there at all when you have the swing trades going. Here it is. It finally gave it to us right here. Now, see, does that look like it crossed down? It didn't. See, so the trigger is, it's going to give you some information, but it's not going to give you the complete picture. Okay, but you did get the down close right there. So what you would have been doing, because you got that one saying it had a warning, that one had a warning, then right here, those alerts didn't seem like they came out timed right. I got to check that because that's a trading view thing. I really got to work on that and make sure that that's right. But the down close right here, you know, if we had the alerts turned on right here, then you would have gotten a notification that here, those might be on the next bar, here might be on the next bar, and here was the actual one right there. Okay. Alright. Yeah, I haven't done this in a while. If you haven't taken a free trial with us and you want to, go to tvtrades.com, click on any one of these orange things. Now, the website, I don't know what happened with this. This is usually small and it's over here on the side. I don't know what the heck happened with that, but it's big now. But the orange things are still the same. Just click on any one of these orange things. It's going to bring it down to the bottom. And, oh, it should bring it all the way down to the bottom. Did not bring it? There it is. Alright, it's either $25 a week, $90 a month, or $9.97 a year. Now, oddly, the way that it works out is this is 20.7% cheaper than that. And this is 30.7% cheaper than that. So the annual plan is the cheapest. And it's 30% cheaper than that, and this is 20% cheaper than that. Okay. But just go to tvtrades.com and click on any one of the orange things, and that'll bring you down to the bottom. Okay. You guys should also know, if you don't know this already, go to targetviewtrades.com. This is where next week's stuff is going to be. You know, when I finish up here in a little while, in about an hour from now, all I have to do is hit publish on this, and you'll have next week's stuff in here. It'll say 8/13, whatever it is. Is that right? 8/13? Yeah, I think so. And I also have this stuff in here for the retracement tools. I haven't really gone into the midpoint thing right now, but the trades that I'm looking at are just following these rules right here. Red background, green background. It's actually a blue background. But they're following these rules right here. Okay, and all this is on targetviewtrades.com, the home page. Alright, this webinar that we're doing right now is being recorded, and when I'm done, it'll be under here in upcoming and past webinars. This will also show next week's stuff in here, but the recording for this week will be right here. Alright, this was last week's recording, and the recording for this week will be here. Last week's is already going to be down here, and this week's will be here, and you can sign up for next week's right there. Just want to point that out. Okay, targetviewtrades.com. There's a lot of information on this page. Alright, Did we get any trades in here besides the swing trade? Not on the ES, not yet anyway. Nothing here on the gold, nothing here on the Russell, nothing here on the NQ, nothing on the YM. The YM it's not giving us any volatility right now. Go to a smaller time frame on that. What are we on? 100. Let's look at a 50 on that. Not much happening on a 50, about a 25. And the 25's got a couple of trades in there. Well, I don't know, the YM's just not moving right now, so I'm probably going to not do it anyway. Alright, questions? Anybody? Anyone? This is new to some of you, it's not new to some of you. I know that some of you may overlap things. You may have too many indicators on your charts. This is going to be a trade here on the NQ and up close. 45.25 up to 30.25 could be our first trade. Yes. Well, that's what I'm saying. No, here's the NQ trade. It's our first trade. And I think I can put my stop at break even already, right? It went up. Did it go 10 ticks? 32.75. It did exactly 10 ticks. So I can throw my stop at break even and I'm on a break even. Crap. Alright, so I had one break even trade. One valid break even trade this session. Yeah, let me write it down somewhere else. Well, I hope to get more than that, but there's no guarantee. It's the kind of the day that it's been. It just hasn't been giving up a bunch of trades. So on the 4 range, let's see what it looks like on the 4 range if we throw this on here. Do that and that and this and that. What's that look like on a 4 range? Do I not have the password in there? I do not. Here, let's do it again. Let's put that guy down there. Get rid of that one. This one on. And do that and that and that and that. Alright. That's what it looks like with the midpoint on a 4 range. I've never really looked at it on a 4 range before, but it's interesting. They should definitely generate some trades for us in this session. Nothing else has given us anything here right now. Is there a difference between the colors on the indicator on the NQ? On the NQ. On this one? No, there's not. This is just, it just didn't print down here. If I refresh this right here, go there and back there, it'll fill that in. Okay, Jeff. It had trouble printing it, that's all. No big deal. Right, so is this at the end on the NQ? Yeah, this is it. So the last trade on the whatever range this is on the NQ was right here. Last swing trade was right there. This is nothing here because it didn't hit the midpoint. It's going to get into the overbought, then come back down into the oversold and give us another trade on that. The gold's flip the background color on the gold. So you could have a trade there pretty soon. This ES has to get up into the overbought, then back down into the oversold and work out of there. Okay. You get confused about which indicator and settings to use together or not. Maybe you need to install page review again. Well, it depends what you're doing. I mean, with the swing trade, you don't need anything else. You know, if you can do the TV trades and the midpoint stuff, you can use the midpoint stuff no matter what indicators you're using. But the midpoint doesn't really give you any arrows or anything like that. You know, if you want something with that much direction, then you're going to have to use like the sniper and mid-trend trade and stuff like that. Okay, Okay, but if you want to use a mid-trend trade, if you want to use the midpoint, I just realized that those are so closely named. Midpoint on night range, yes, in swing trade, or only when doing TV trades. Only when doing TV trades, Angel. The swing trade, you don't need anything else. You do the swing trade all by itself. Okay? Because usually it's going to run opposite to all the other indicators. See? You get the down on the red, you get the down on the blue and the up on the red. It's usually going to run opposite to all the other indicators because it happens at the very end of the trend. Could be a good indication for you for other things, though. When you get this, you could expect it's going to get down to the midpoint from here. This is really ugly the way this is coming together over here on the gold. Now, in this case right here on the gold, where it's not giving you anything because it's in such chop, I want to do something really quick with you. Now, I think I did this last week, but I'll do it again right here. Put on the div area, you can make it a line like that. When the blue leads into the overbought or leads into the oversold, you can buy or sell the open of the next bar, right, regardless of the background color. It's not doing it right now, but that was just something else I just thought I'd throw out there for you. That's the divergence trade. Yeah, I know that was a lot of words all at once, but it is. Now, on Microsoft, let's just see what this did. This is a Microsoft 50 range, and it gave its last signal right here. It said to sell. Right there. It said to buy in here. Now, on a 50 range, every bar is 50 cents. So its last signal was right there, and it's gone down about $1, a little over $1 since it gave the signal. Okay. The ES, when you get down to the oversold, get to the midpoint. We just don't have any trades. I've had one break-even trade so far. I didn't want to count today in the totals, in the Wednesday totals. This one here. Oh, this is what the totals look like so far in the year. Well, since May, since I started doing it. Today will be our 14th session, and so far we have one break-even trade. Our lowest was this one right here. We had $20 with one contract, at 200 with 10. I guess I could have gotten that on that NQ trade. I could have gotten more than that. But we're averaging $3,796 with 10 contracts, or $379 with one contract on the Wednesday afternoons. We got a ways to go here. We had half an hour, less than half an hour to get some trades here. Alright, we're about to get one here on the NQ, and up close here on the NQ would be a trade. It's going to be 31.75 to 31.50 up to 36.50. 36.50. Okay, and that would be a trade on the NQ. The ES almost has a trade. It hasn't hit the midpoint, but this is on a 4-range ES, so you got to keep that in mind, okay? This is now 30 up to 35. Crap. I did not adjust my order. It should still work out. Alright. It just... There. So 35 right there is the entry spot. There. Okay. Here, I'm in at 35. Hopefully it's not going to stop me out, but it's been doing that a lot today. In my afternoon session today, I stopped out 4 times. I had 1 profitable trade and 4 stop-outs. After having a fairly good morning session, though I didn't have a ton of trades, it still was a fairly good morning session. Right, we got a red bar, that's not good. But we just let it do its thing. Alright, so over here right now, we just hit the midpoint on the 4 range on the ES. So the 4 range could give us an up close right here, and that would be a trade on the ES. Right, and those would be the only things we have going on right now. We just got into the oversold here on this. That's what the yellow arrow means. Got into the oversold. Okay, there's still a chance here on the same queue. We'll see what happens with it. There's nothing on the gold. The gold is like dead right now. So kind of focus here on the NQ. I want to see. I hope I'm going to be able to get my stop to break even. If good enough close on this bar, that would be awesome. But I've got to wait. Hey, and the ES triggered over there too, I just noticed. That does not seem to be going anywhere either. Alright. Alright, Wayne. We'll see you. Do you need to put a midpoint on 19 range ES and swing trade? I already answered that one, right, Angel? You do not need to put that on. Right, we don't have a trade over here on the Russell. It came out of the oversold, but it was nowhere near the midpoint when it came out of the oversold. But that should work out well for our NQ trade and the ES trade too. Hopefully, if it keeps going up right now, they both keep going up right now. I have something positive here to show for this session. The gold's really got nothing going on. You can't do anything with the gold. Okay. Hey, we're in the positive now. We need to get 10 ticks in profits. Got to get up to 37.5 to get the stop to break even. Okay, now get ready for it. 37.5. It's gonna go. It's gonna go. There it is. Stop to break even. I'm gonna lock in a point. I'm gonna lock in 2 points. That's $400. 600. Alright, so we're out with 3 points there. And the ES, crap, the ES. I forgot about the ES. Where should I have entered on the ES? I should have entered here at 77.5, right? Well, I'm in at 77.75 on the ES. And how hard is it gone? 78.50. Okay. Well, the high of the day is right here on the ES. It looks like that's what it's trying to get up to right there. It's the high of the day. Okay, so running Q 12 ticks. And now this is the 4 range on the ES. I don't normally trade this anymore. I did for 10 years. I traded the 4 range, but it's been a long time since I've done that. One more. It's gonna pop, I think. What do we have? We have this number right here that it's trying to get up to. We have that number right there and that number up there. It's gonna go. It's just a matter of whether it pulls back before it does. I'm thinking this was the pullback right here, so it should pop right up through the high of the day. It's gonna go one more tick. It's gonna get up here right there. Get up there. We have nothing over here on the Russell. We have nothing. Yeah, it's going to get up to 0.75. Nothing on the gold. The gold is completely dead over there. It's completely flat and dead. And the NQ, we've done our thing with the NQ. I'm going to move that up to the side. The NQ could give us another trade here. A down close here. Put us in the oversold. And then that should be followed up by an up close or two. That'll give us another entry over there. Okay. And the ES is struggling to get up to the high of the day right here. It's got all these numbers up here it wants to get up to. The Russell is in the overbought. It reset the midpoint here. So you could have another trade there on the Russell, possibly. We'll see. Okay. And what time is it? 3:41. Okay, the gold. Still no trade here on the gold. You still have a red background on the gold. Now you have a blue bar on a red background, so it's about to change the background color on the gold. You're in the overbought, but it's about to change to a blue background on the gold. Getting pretty close to a stop out over here on this. Alright, you see how we have these red bars on a blue background here on the NQ? That suggests the background color is going to change on the next bar. And we just stopped out on the ES. So we got -8 on the ES. Okay, there's the background color change on that, and now it's going to give us a background color change over here on the gold. Okay. Yes, it is mostly watching paint. It is, John. This is kind of tough to watch right here, but it is what it is. This is suggesting it's going to go up right now. Just change the background color on this, on the ES. No, I didn't even have the background color on that. I probably should have, but I knew what it was. I can't believe that didn't give us the 4 ticks we needed. Anyway, it is what it is. Over here on the gold, we could actually have a trade here on a down close on the gold. That is going so slow though. Okay, and we are running out of time. I think the market's going to get a little more active as we get closer to the close, the New York close here. Like in about 10 minutes, I think things will probably speed up for us. And oh, this was Microsoft. That's right. So all these ones that have equities in here, they are all swing trades. Okay, like NVIDIA. That was a trade there on the 50 range. I don't know exactly what it said to do. Alright, here was a swing trade that said to sell it a little while ago. That was NVIDIA. And Tesla, what did that say to do? Said to sell it there and there and there, to buy it over there. Interesting. Alright, we have a blue background here on the Russell. We're not in the oversold, so we don't have a trade there. We need that down close right there on the gold. Alright, that down close on the gold is a shorting opportunity on the gold. You know the gold's not moving at all, but it came out of the overbought. Right there on the gold. Nothing here, nothing here. So right now on the session we're actually down a little bit. $40. I think, is that right? Yeah, $40 right now. Alright, Jeff. Alright. So this is suggesting we're going to have an upward move here pretty soon on the ES. The S4 range, we're going to have a swing trade long pretty soon. Again, if you haven't taken a free trial, then you want to go here to tvtrades.com down at the bottom. Hit any one of the orange buttons that will bring you down to the bottom. Right? $25 a week, $90 a month, $9.97 a year. It's a free 3-day trial. Okay. Going to see any market activity, it should start picking up here in about 5 minutes, I would think. I should add that on. Sorry about that. There's our swing trade. There's one there, there's one there. Now it should make it up to the midpoint, which we should have a short off of right here. Okay, on both of those. They should both make it up to the midpoint where we have a short. Alright, that's not off the midpoint, so we reset here on the CS4 range. You're not going to get anything there. Same thing over here on the NQ. So now they're going to get into the oversold and come back into the overbought. Into the oversold and back into the overbought. That's what they have to do now. Alright. And I just had a thought. Alright, so we made it to the oversold. Now we're going to get back into the overbought, and then back out of the overbought. Into the overbought and out of the overbought. Is what we've got to do now. Didn't make it there. We made it not quite in the overbought here on this. If we go in here, we get rid of the extra ones. So we need an up close, but that's going to be too high. It's going to mess things up on us. The gold is starting to move. Okay, so I can go to break even on the gold finally. Lock in one tick on the gold. It took us out with one tick. I was going to lock in 4 because that would put us at break even, but let's look here. That is not a trade right there. This is the activity that I was talking about. You see we just got the gap there and a gap there. That's not a trade right there because it was on the midpoint, was not flat. Okay, so now it's starting to move around a little bit. We'll be able to trade this a little bit, I think, right now. Really looks like only a couple of markets that we're going to be able to trade here, but we'll see. We're in the red on all of them. So we need flat midpoints. This one's flat. This one's now flat. We need to hit the midpoint, get a down close on the NQ. We didn't hit the midpoint yet on the NQ. We need to hit the midpoint, get a down close. We didn't get it there. We didn't get it on the... I'm sorry, that was the ES. We didn't get it on the NQ or the ES. Sorry, I have the ES and the NQ backwards here. But we didn't get it on either one of those. And there's a chance on the ES it could happen here. I gotta swap my DOMs around. Oh, they are swapped around. Huh. Imagine that. Alright, so on the NQ, there's a chance it could happen. We just need a couple of decent trades here. One, actually, would work. Alright, we're in the oversold again right now. We need to get up into the overbought. We're not in the oversold. We actually need to get in the oversold to get into the overbought. So there's a better chance of having a trade here on the NQ than there is on the ES right now. Sorry, my voice is kind of going right now. So an up close here on the NQ is going to put us in the overbought like that. Okay, so now we need a down close on the NQ. Just need that down close on the NQ. Let's get a high here of 1850, so it'd be 1350 and be selling. 1350. Okay. Now it's got a high of 19. Now it's got a high of 1950. It's going to be 1450 you're selling. Okay, the ES didn't make the full cycle, so you don't have a trade here on the ES. You could have one here on the NQ, but you don't have one on the ES for sure. You could get another one over here on gold too. Gold's got potential. Okay, there it is on the NQ. Excuse me, we didn't get it on the ES. Okay, did not get one on the ES. The gold's starting to drop again. The gold didn't end up with the trade, but it's starting to drop. The NQ stopped going to break even. Here it is. I'm going to lock in another point on that. 2 points on that. And so we got 2 more points on that. So it's at 20 on that. Hey, we're positive now. And the gold didn't end up giving us a trade. Time is at 353. Well, we're positive right now. We're up 1 tick. The 1 tick we got on the gold. The stop out on the ES it was an 8 tick stop because it's on a 4 range. So that was $100. And we have 20 ticks on the NQ right now that we've gotten. So it's 3:53. We have about 7 minutes left. This is what it's been like all day. It hasn't been easy today. I didn't think it was going to be in the session either. Never really thought about going to a 4 range, but here we are. Alright, so right now, reset the midpoint. It needs to get into the overbought and come off the midpoint. It's not going to do it in a single bar. It's going to take like 2 to 3 bars to get a trade on the ES. I don't think we're going to get it. On the NQ, we're in the oversold. We just need that to pull back up and test the midpoint. Over here on the Russell, we're in the overbought. We need that to go flat in the overbought to give us an up close on this bar, and then the next one could hit the midpoint and give us a trade on a down close. Okay, flat in the overbought. Needs to hit the midpoint and give us a down close. Change background colors here on the ES, so we got nothing there. We don't have a trade over here on the NQ yet, but the bars are blue, so you gotta wait until the bar closes to make sure the background color is right. See, the bars are blue on red. Let me just check that. See, the background color just changed. Get rid of that. There, the background color just changed. Now the background color just changed back. Okay. So there was almost a chance for a trade here, long on the NQ, but there's not. It's too far away from the midpoint now. There's still a chance for a trade short on, well, there was still a chance to trade for a short over there on the Russell, but that went away too. Right, you see all the things, how they're coming together right here. I figured the last 10 minutes we were going to see some activity, and now we are. We're oversold here. We need to get back up to the midpoint. It's going to take 2 bars to get back up to the midpoint, and then we need to close down off the midpoint. So it's going to be 3 bars away over here on the ES. At least. And we're not going to have a trade here on the NQ because we're blue background. Okay, that just changed. Now we're red background, so we could have a trade on an up close on this bar and a wick off the next bar. Now what I mean by that is the up close on this bar is not going to be high enough. I don't think. It might be. 1075 to 1575. Yeah, the up close could actually do it. The up close on this bar and then the next bar down close would do it. Okay, because the midpoint's not flat right now. But if this bar closes up, then the next bar, the midpoint will be flat. See what I mean? So the down close on this one right here, but the background, the bar color is blue, so you gotta wait for it to close. You can't put the order on ahead of time. You gotta actually wait for the close to see if it's gonna happen, if it's gonna stay the right color. Okay, the Russell's pretty close to a trade though. The Russell's got a high here of 28.9. See, the background color did change, but the Russell's got a high here of 28.9. So you'd be selling 27.9 on that. The bar color and the background color, right? The gold never did give you another trade setup. The ES is about to give you one though. The ES needs to just hit the wick and give a down close right here. Nothing on the NQ. The Russell's getting farther and farther away. The Russell's not a trade, so cancel that order. The ES could be one. 31.75 down to 30.75 on the ES. Looks like it's going to be one more tick. 31.75 down to 70.50 on the ES, I guess. Alright. Well, what do we have left? We have 3 minutes left here. I'm hesitant. I'm reluctant to take another trade right now as we get closer and closer to the end of the session, because this is showing almost a long trade. The S is showing a short trade. The Russell's showing nothing, and the gold is not showing anything. So these two are showing opposite directions right now. And I don't know if I put the ES on a larger time frame, what it'll show on a larger time frame. Just put on a 7 range. The 7 range is kind of showing a short. It's saying it should pull back up and bounce off the midpoint, but it's at least red. This up close right here on the NQ is going to end up being a long trade. It's got a low here of 18.25, so you'd be buying 23.25 on that. Again, they're going in opposite directions. The S and the NQ. Only one of them actually has a trade here, though. The S is the only one with an actual trade. The NQ doesn't have it yet. There's nothing on the Russell, and the gold needs an up close followed by a down close. Okay. I don't know, we only have a minute left. I'm reluctant to take another trade because we're up 1 tick right now. Right. Yeah, 1 tick. Oh, yeah. Okay. Both of them have given profit. I'm going to take the ES one and go to break even on that and lock in just 1 more tick. So I have 1 more tick there. The NQ, they both gave enough profit to get the stop to break even. Alright. The ES is about to trigger another one, but it's got blue on a red background. I didn't do the NQ one, but the NQ one did give you a chance to take profit right in there. 10 ticks or so. The ES, I got 1 little tick profit on the ES. That's it. -7. And we're just about to run out of time. The gold needs an up close followed by a down close. As the stock exchanges close here, we're getting some pretty good activity. This is kind of fun. But I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I kind of want to trade a little bit more, but I don't want to throw it off. Alright, so let's go here, and we'll put in the results for today. It was dismal. It was not bad. I mean, horrible. It wasn't negative, but on the NQ, we ended up with 20 ticks. On the Russell, we got none. On gold, we got 1. And on the ES, we got 1. So we're up $122.50 with 1 contract at $1,225. Is that right? I don't know. I stopped up. There's going to be a negative. No, the ES is -7. -7. I was wondering what the heck. That seemed like it was way too big. There we go. $225. $22.50 with 1 contract for $225. I was gonna say that number just seemed like way too big. And we had 6 trades. And this becomes a 14. So this is where we are. 225 is what we ended up with. It was pretty dismal. Plus 20 on the NQ, plus 1 on gold, -7 on the ES, and plus 6. I'm sorry, 6 trades overall. 225 with 10 contracts. $22.50 with 1 contract. So far in the Wednesday trading, we're up $49,575. I guess I didn't do an hourly rate on that, right? So it'd be 14 times 1.5. That's 22. So it'd be 49.75. Let's do the math here. 9575 divided by 22. We're averaging $2,253 per hour with 10 contracts, or $225 per hour with 1 contract, for these Wednesday sessions. And I guess that's where we're going to wrap it up. If you have not taken a free trial with us, go to tvtrades.com. tvtrades.com. Down here at the bottom, you'll see there's plenty of places on here to just hit free trial. Right? Any of the orange things will bring you down to the bottom. $25 a week, $90 a month, or $9.97 a year. This is 30.7% cheaper than that. This is 20.7% cheaper than that. And this is pretty darn cheap to get started. Alright, that is it. I think I got all the questions answered. If anybody has any questions, if you come up with any questions, you can email support@targetviewtrades.com. support@targetviewtrades.com. We're about to get another trade here on the NQ. A down close will be a trade there. We didn't get into the overbought on this one right now, I don't think. No, we didn't, so that's not going to be a trade, but that is a trade there on the NQ. The gold could also trigger a trade here, but it's got a blue bar on a red background. I would stop trading the gold for right now. And that's it, guys. With that, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to wrap up the recording of this. Again, tvtrades.com. This will be out at targetviewtrades.com. Those are different web pages. Targetviewtrades.com has a lot more information. This recording will be here at targetviewtrades.com. Click on upcoming and past webinars. The recording of this is going to be right here. Okay, this is last week's. You take this one, it's going to be down here, and this week's will be right here. You'll be able to sign up for next week's right here. Okay, or on the home page, you'll be able to sign up for next week's right here. Alright, that is it, guys. Thank you all for coming today. I'm going to wrap this up. It's been a long day. We'll see you all whenever I see you. Alright, thanks for coming.